shit. Oh, crap. What is happening, fam? It is your boy, the Sultan Sativa, the Ayatollah of Indica, a.k.a. the Bobby Fischer of BHO, a.k.a. the Holy Hashashin, a.k.a. Ned Sparks, a.k.a. Johnny Hash, a.k.a. President United Bakes of America, Donald Blunt, a.k.a. fucking Willie the Cool Penguin, a.k.a. Lord Bongtimore. I got a little piece of tobacco on my teeth. And I'm here with another brand spanking new episode of the number one Cannabis podcast on the planet. Let's talk about it. And, we are here live and direct. If you're new here, welcome. Excuse me. Welcome. If it's your first time here, welcome. I do not let fucking Spotify just run ads for shit that I don't even know. They could just be running ads for whatever. I don't really fuck with that. I'd rather partner up with some people and utilize some fire products and share them with you. If that makes sense, get them. If not, fucking don't. That's cool. If you don't know, because you're new here, welcome. I am heavily shadow banned every fucking where. I am visibility filtered, traffic throttled, and I don't even have that much fucking traffic. But if you search for me, you got to put in my whole goddamn name. Somebody actually just sent me a video earlier today of that shit. You got to search my whole fucking name before you can find me. For 3 years, I've had people telling me, oh, fucking LB, I didn't even know you were still alive. I don't ever see your shit. It's like, well, yeah. It's because I've told you to put on post notifications. It's because I tell the truth as best as I see it. And God damn it, it's not too far that I'm off. You know? I mean, damn. If you've ever fucking paid attention to any of the shit that I'm saying, you would know that the shit that I'm saying is fucking on point. And if it's not, or new information presents itself, I'm open. But I mean, damn, when they try and tell me, when somebody that's me and nobody is fucking posting all this shit and they're making it so that my story views have no views, well, yeah, I mean, I would have to assume based on that some of the shit that I'm talking about is kind of on the money. There's fucking been a lot going on. Since we're dealing with all this shit, and by we I mean me, because it's a one-man show over here, baby. It's a one-man show, and I'm working it the best that I can. Try to put out some quality shit. Try to let you in on my thought process. And if you find some value, sorry for coughing in your fucking face. Oh my god, sorry. If you find some value in this, share it with somebody, man. Share the show, right? I've had a ton of people over the last 3 years telling me, Elliot, I appreciate all the shit that you're saying. I wish I could say it. You're not saying it because you're kind of a pussy. But I understand. Some people don't want to deal with that shit. They don't know the plan. They don't have a plan. They're not built for this shit. But at least if you're not going to speak up and have these conversations and share the truth to the best of your knowledge and opinion, then share some motherfuckers who are. Send that shit. Don't just fucking post on your story. Send somebody a link, man. I try to keep up on shit. It can be hard. I was just looking through, trying to figure out what I wanted to talk about tonight. And I'm going to have to do like another couple episodes because there's a bunch of shit in my shit that I'm already backed up on. I just looked at it and it's overwhelming. Drinking my fucking productivity shot. It's got adaptogens, nootropics, Magic Mind, baby. It's got a little bit of everything. Some matcha, some turmeric, some of the good shit. You can get it from Sprouts, grocery store, nationwide. I'm pretty sure Sprouts is nationwide. This might even help with blood flow to your dick. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. I don't want to be promising things that they don't promise, but maybe. Give it a. I love it. It's a whole range of tastes. Kind of peachy, fruity, a little spicy from that turmeric. It's good, man. There's been a lot going on, man. So if you missed out, which you did, because I know how many people were there, I was there. I just started this past week my Patreon. It is a place where I will be able to share shit that I'm not sharing on the gram because nobody sees it, or I get banned, or I get a fucking strike against my account, or whatever. So, whether that be some cannabis content about shit that I'm smoking on, shit is available to you, what you should be smoking on, whether that's shit that I'm reading. I want to post up some, people ask me about some of the books that I read, and I know I constantly post some motivational shit, or like some self-help shit, or a biography of somebody like David Goggins. And I gotta tell you, that's not all the shit that I read. I read a whole ton of shit. I'm constantly, in podcasts I'm listening to, people bring up a book from God knows how long ago, and I'll go find a PDF version of it and download that shit. I got a few that I'm excited about. I'm gonna post them up on the Patreon. And it's kind of awesome that there's so much free fucking shit available in regards to literature that is outside of the norm. So one I just found a copy of online. It's called like Suspicious Minds. It was written by a dude. It's like why we buy into conspiracy shit. Apparently it debunks the Zionism conspiracy. And just listening to the guy talk about it that I heard about it from, he's a conspiracy guy. But he was talking about it. He doesn't really fuck with that conspiracy. I personally am somebody that has kind of bought into that, to an extent at least. My whole life doesn't depend on any worldview or ideology, so I'm open that it might be bullshit. It could be that somebody else is just pushing that narrative to deflect from themselves. Who knows? So I'm gonna put that up there. I got one, Morals and Dogma by Albert Pike. If you don't know who Albert Pike is, he is one of the founding Freemasons from fucking hundreds of years ago. I don't think it's Scottish Rite. I think he's a Bavarian dude. Bavarian Freemasonry. I couldn't tell you what the difference between Scottish Rite Freemasonry is and Bavarian Freemasonry. I just know these motherfuckers got hella symbols and hella gang signs that they all are fucking flashing. So I don't know. My buddy's a Freemason. He thinks it's hilarious when there's conspiracy talk. He's like, I just think it's funny. It's like, well, are you even high enough in the Freemason ranks to be getting the information? What I know, some of that shit is you have to be at a certain level. These people that control the world, I don't know who they are. I don't subscribe that their religion necessarily has anything to do with it. Like, I don't think that it's just Jewish people, or it's just a group of Jewish elites, Zionist elites. I think there is a certain grip on industries that, with that control, could be very easy to manipulate large quantities of the population. But with that being said, I don't think it is exclusive to one religion. I don't think it's exclusive to one ideology, but I could be wrong. They might all be fucking Moloch worshipping, Bohemian Grove hanging, fucking, engaging in all sorts of tomfoolery and fuckery. But I'm interested to read it because I want to know. I've been into the conspiracy realm for a long fucking time. I grew up in internet 1.0. We talked about it on the last podcast. I've talked about it a million times before, but it's like there's certain shit that, when you used to look it up, it brought up information on it. Now when you look it up, it brings up what some might consider to be controlled opposition, right? Something that makes the idea look fucking dumb as fuck, so that most 90% of regular people are just gonna be like, oh yeah, look at this stupid shit. You look up Taylor Swift VMAs Illuminati, right? And it's gonna be like fucking a video put out by MTV that's dumb as fuck. And if you scroll to like page 8 on Google, you'll finally get to fucking somebody like Isaac Weishaupt, who has a video with all sorts of fucking shit about the symbolism of a Taylor Swift fucking performance. With like backed up citations of where the fuck this information comes from, or this symbolism comes from, or why he thinks that. It's like, and it's good, dude. No matter what, it's good to ingest information from all sources. So, I'm gonna post something like that, right? Because I'm not just some fucking wacko. I mean, yeah, I probably tend to lead more towards a conspiratorial end of things, but I mean, you can't argue with history in a lot of cases. It's like, well, fucking that's a conspiracy theory. And it's like, well, the CIA keeps releasing documents about all these things that were conspiracy theories. Turns out they were involved in all these things in history, fucking were predicated upon bullshit. It's like, what are y'all not telling us? Who the fuck are we? What are we supposed to be doing? I know I've digressed a little bit, but I kind of want to touch back on it. This Patreon page, I'm doing a free week, until we hit 30 subscribers. After that, you could just you could pay what it is or hop out. I'll probably end up doing some different tiers, but for right now, there's only one tier. And, that's because I'm trying to build up a little bit of a community, a place for people to be, to have to go. I mean, my mission in life has really become finding ways to help people who have been through similar experiences as me. I mean, and not limited to just experiences like me. Really anybody, but ultimately, I just feel there's a need for people who have been through some of the struggles that I've been through, such as going through an active addiction, getting clean. There are people that get clean and like never really get involved in a program and learn how to fucking live a better life. And so I'm trying to incorporate some recovery elements, which is ultimately just how to fucking be a good person. I'm incorporating some of the physical and mental toughness routines that I engage in. Some things, a place for people to really be able to interact with me, and quote unquote pick my brain, and a place for me to be able to pour into the people that have supported me over the last 5 years, and really be able to give back. Plus, money that you fucking donate, or fucking subscribe, or however the fuck it works, is going to be very helpful in developing this podcast to be a better fucking thing for you. It's going to get you some fucking cool merch, at least some discounts on it. And I'll have some fucking cash flow to actually get some fucking new merch. Let's go, man. 2024, I'm going to be doing some big shit. There will be the big reason why it is priced the way that it is priced is because I will be hosting 3 weeks out of the month a hour-long group, that will probably evolve over time and be shaped by those who are involved in the community. As of, we just had the first one on Sunday, and it went great. I had some great dudes in there. We really broke it down. It was heartfelt. It was personal. It was, dare I say, intimate. And, it was just kind of free-flowing conversation. I'm sure as it grows, we might need to change up the format a bit, but I'm open, man. I just want it to be a place where people can come Doesn't have to be just dudes, but I feel like given the nature of who listens to my podcast, it probably will be primarily dudes. It's a good place to build a little bit of a network of people who are thinking the same way you are, right? And looking to improve themselves and the lives of those around them. I mean, we've strayed too far from the path of American excellence, myself included, and that's why my mission has changed over the last few years. It's like, how the fuck can I be worried about some fucking weed shit when the world is in the state that it is, when suicides are up the way that they are, when depression is up the way that it is, when fucking unemployment is way up, when fucking, cost of goods is way up, extra 12,000 a year. Where's that coming from? Is your job giving you a raise worth an extra 12 grand a year to keep up with the pace of inflation? Fuck no. Come on, you already know what time it is. So for me, this is, I'm honestly going through one of the hardest times of my fucking life right now. I'm not even going to lie. Like, there are some things happening right now that make me feel kind of pathetic as a fucking man, to be honest. But at the same time, I have faith. I've been developing mental toughness, grit, determination, been doing some hard work, trying to figure out the next moves and working towards some shit, and I got some good news today about some of that stuff, and I'm really excited, man. I mean, it really is just about having faith in the process, practicing some aggressive patience, going through the day-to-day grind, the day-to-day fucking feeling like you're not doing enough, and, persevering through that shit, and there's some good opportunities in the works right now that could be very promising for the future. I'm excited, and in the meantime, we're gonna fucking get after it. I got some events I'm working on. I'd like to do something this summer that I think is going to be very impactful for people. I think it's going to be important for me. I think it's going to be potentially life-changing for some of the people that do it and come out for this shit, including some of my close homies. We're going to have to fucking get a trial run. I'm rocking on phase 3 right now. I think in the last episode I just started. Might have even been the first day. It's been about 2 weeks. And I gotta tell you, this shit is fucking hard. There's a whole different level of stress put on by the fact that there is no, like, failing and restarting. It's, if you fail, you gotta wait till next year to do phase 3 again because it ends the day, it's 30 days. You do it the last 30 days before your, the 1-year anniversary of your doing 75 hard, and you start the Live Hard program over again, which is the foundational element, 75 hard, followed by phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Phase 3 is by far the hardest. I think there's just a mental element that's unrivaled so far. And it's got the hardest parts of phase 1 plus some extra shit. About 18 days in, and so 12 more days. In this round of 75 hard, I'm about to go fucking hard. So I've got a few people that are doing it. I will be running an accountability group in my Patreon. Be a place for everyone to kind of post in when they finish their day and what they've had going on. And we will keep each other accountable to the mission. We will do 75 hard. I will be doing phase 1 after that, with no break, as that's the only way that I've completed phase 1, which is fine. Although it is going to be extra hard, as I've been looking for a way to make it harder, and I know the way to do it. I just have not wanted to do it over the last few years, and that means it's time to do it. I'm going to not smoke. I'm going to quit smoking tobacco and weed. So no more spliffy spliffs for the first 105 days of the year. What am I going to do? No weed. No tobacco. I'm putting it out there now. right? So that y'all can keep me accountable, because I'm going to need it. I'm going to need to fucking remember that I said this shit out loud, so that when y'all see me, I ain't going to be smoking no weed. You know, I've been smoking the last 10 years. After I was clean for about 2.5, completely abstinent. Cannabis has been an excellent part of my routine, but I think it's important to see where I'm at, see how I feel, get a nice reevaluation in, and I look forward to the challenge. I think it's important. I think it honestly might be very valuable in shutting some people up. I'm telling you what, live hard this year. I will be documenting it in a journaling format. You know, key points in the 10 pages that I read, talking about my workouts, talking about things I'm feeling, thinking, you know, not being lazy with it, really fucking going above and beyond, because I think it deserves to be fucking put into a book. You know, I don't want to just dig myself in a hole here, but I just really feel like you know, in doing this, it's gonna be fucking crazy, dude. Who does this shit? And what's even crazier is I got other people that are gonna come along for the ride with me in that realm. So if you'd like to be fucking on some 75 hard shit, you could still smoke your weed. You just can't drink, and that's fine. Because alcohol is a poison. I don't want to get crazy, but speaking of poisons, let's dive in, man. I have a couple different formats for the show. One of them is BNN, the Bongtimore News Network. And just to kind of follow up on some shit that we were talking about. I know I was talking about this RSV vaccine, and I don't know why, but it is crazy that I don't think that I spoke about this, and if I did, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to hear about it again. But apparently, Pfizer failed to disclose the risks of preterm birth and neonatal death in pregnant women in the RSV vaccine trial. If you haven't seen that, go look into it. But I'm looking at it, and I feel like I did talk about this. Oh, you know what? It might have been. Well, I could tell you. I don't know if it was like in regards to the. I don't know if it was in regards to the CDC direction, but I feel like I fucking did talk about this. Oh, they're talking about the RSV. Okay, I'm looking at this. I'm gonna go ahead and talk about it anyway, because it's just another fucking example. And even if I already talked about it and read this article, I don't care, because we've already seen what the fuck is happening. This article is from the Epoch Times. I don't know what their validity is. We're not going into fact checking on them right now. Y'all can look it up yourself. But Pfizer failed to disclose the risks of preterm birth and neonatal death to pregnant women in the RSV vaccine trial. And I know that in the one of the last episodes, maybe it was 2 episodes ago, 3 episodes ago, I talked about the CDC guidance for the COVID shit, and how they're telling you make sure you're up to date on your COVID vaccine and your flu vaccine and now your RSV vaccine, and how that was bullshit. Sorry, I don't have a cough button. You guys know this. I will drink some water as I'm feeling a little bit raspy. Oh, excuse me. You know, I like my water ice cold. A BMJ investigation, I don't know what BMJ is, revealed Pfizer was studying preterm birth as an, quote, adverse event of special interest in the RSV trial, but didn't inform pregnant participants. Why is it that we see with all these fucking vaccines, they want to do it to pregnant people? They want to fuck these baby up and traumatize these women. Like, holy fuck, dude. Pfizer failed to inform pregnant women participating in its clinical trial for the respiratory syncytial virus vaccine. The clinical trial of a similar vaccine by GlaxoSmithKline was halted after a safety signal revealed a potential risk of preterm births leading to neonatal deaths. Even though Pfizer knew about the potential safety signal and was studying preterm births as a, quote, adverse event of special interest, it continued to enroll women in its clinical trial and did not fully inform participants of the risk the vaccine may pose to their babies, and in some cases provide misleading and contradictory statements, according to an investigation by the BMJ. Boston Medical Journal might be who BMJ is. The BMJ article demonstrates Pfizer's continued disregard for the law and patient choice, Attorney Thomas Rentz told the Epoch Times in an email. The entire point of informed consent is to ensure a patient can make a decision based on all available information. Rather than embracing the Nuremberg Code and American laws and regulations, Pfizer seems to view informed consent as a barrier to sales, something that causes vaccine hesitancy or drug hesitancy. There should have never been a clinical trial in pregnant women studying any injections aimed at RSV in pregnant women. They've been working on RSV vaccines for fucking decades, bro. And you know why they never put one out? Because they didn't fucking need it. They don't need it now. They didn't need it then. They just fucking, they got people hopped up on goofballs riding the fear train, upset about upper respiratory illnesses. Motherfucker, you never cared about how many people you killed with a cold before in your life. I don't know about you, but prior to 2020, I would go to work sick. If I was sick with a cold or the flu, that was not a valid excuse to not show up to work. Okay? I ran a store I worked in retail, and if I didn't show up as the manager, who the fuck was coming in? You think one of my little assistant managers at Zoomies was coming in? Fuck no. You're tripping. You think I was going to make that time up? During peak season, you think that I could even think about taking that day off without getting reamed out with my fucking dickhead manager, district manager? Fuck no. I was out on the floor, hopped up on Dayquil, selling the shit out of some fucking skateboards and fucking DC shoes, some Osiris's. Oh, damn, I wish I could remember the fucking name of the DC shoe that we sold so many of. They did a Metal Militia one. I know what I'm talking about. Pregnancy and potential to become pregnant is historically the most protected class of human subjects from clinical research because the risks and potential to cause inadvertent harm are too devastating to justify scientific interest in made-up subjects like RSV. Couldn't have said it better my fucking self. Miss Latipova is a retired pharmaceutical industry executive with 25 years of experience in pharmaceutical research and development and co-founder of several organizations that work with pharmaceutical companies to design, execute, collect data, and submit clinical trial data to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, if you will. According to Mrs. Latipova, what was once considered a harmless cold has since been rebranded as RSV. Thank you. Rebranded. Good old is marketing, baby. The vast majority of parents have not heard of RSV, and if they have not been exposed to CDC fear-mongering and renaming of otherwise harmless common colds, the incidence or prevalence of RSV is not known precisely because it poses no danger to anyone, Mrs. Latipova said. In the U.S., RSV is attributed as a cause of death to about 17 infants per year out of 4 million plus babies. 17 infants a year out of 4 million babies, based on a review of 12 years' worth of death certificates. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, RSV is a common respiratory virus that usually causes mild cold-like symptoms. Although most people recover in a week or two, it can be serious and is more commonly diagnosed in infants. Both GSK and Pfizer were developing an RSV vaccine for pregnant women, but GSK halted its phase 3 vaccine trial in February of 22 over a possible increased risk of preterm births and neonatal deaths in vaccinated participants. Immediately after becoming informed of this safety signal, GSK informed health authorities and updated its consent forms. But there was no explanation for the increase in preterm births, but GSK told the BMJ it was still investigating the safety signal and was no longer developing its vaccine. A dispute then emerged over whether Pfizer had the obligation to inform women participating in their RSV clinical trial about the potential risk and whether their consent forms should be updated accordingly. BMJ asked Pfizer whether pregnant women in its clinical trial were informed about the potential risk of preterm birth, but the pharmaceutical giant did not respond. As a result, the BMJ contacted governmental health authorities in all 18 countries where Pfizer had trial sites and reached out to more than 80 trial investigators. Good, man. Fucking good. I'm not usually one for snitching, but if it's on Big Pharma, fuck them. Charles Weiser, a bioethicist and professor at Western. According to the investigation, the BMJ did not receive any responses that indicated Pfizer informed pregnant participants of the risk. And some said Pfizer continued to enroll and vaccinate pregnant women for months after the potential risk of preterm birth from GSK's clinical trial was publicized. So I wonder, is GSK and Pfizer have like practically the same vaccine? Is it the same active ingredients? How's it work, Sway? What type of fucking monkey DNA and aborted fetal cells and pig fucking fetal cells are in there? Changing your fucking genetics. Any Charles Weiser, a bioethicist and professor at Western University in London, Canada, who specializes in research ethics, told the BMJ that pregnant women should have been informed of the safety signal revealed during GSK's clinical trial so they could consider whether they wanted to receive the vaccine, or if they had already received the vaccine, whether they should seek medical advice or follow up. Any failure to provide new and potentially important safety information data to trial participants is ethically problematic, Mr. Weiser said. Rose Burnaby, a professor of research ethics and research integrity at the University of Oslo, told the BMJ, the renewal of informed consent is a must, especially because Pfizer claimed to follow guidelines from the Council for International Organizations of Medical Sciences and International Guideline for Good Clinical Practice, both of which contain similar passages stating that informed consent must be renewed if new information becomes available that could affect the willingness of participants to continue. Well, I could tell you what. According to the trials that we saw for the Pfizer, Moderna, fucking all the other ones, they didn't really take a whole lot of care to fucking the ethical nature of what needs to be done in a vaccine research. Can we just be honest? Please? Like, can we just, for 2 seconds, talk about it honestly? Okay, let's see. An anonymous, this is a little bit of an article, but, we're fucking getting in it. An anonymous clinical trial investigator for Pfizer told the BMJ that in early 22, they asked Pfizer about the potential risk of preterm birth because of the similarity between GSK and Pfizer's vaccines. Oh, so that answered my question. And asked whether Pfizer's trial participants could be reassured. All I got from Pfizer was that their data hadn't shown any increase in risk. No answer to my question, the researcher said. Mrs. Latipova told the Epoch Times she was appalled that any trials of the products were IRB, Institutional Review Board, approved and proceeded in this population. Pfizer had an ethical obligation to inform the participants in their clinical trial that GSK terminated their experiment, Ms. Latipova said. At the same time, she's not sure why ethical behavior would be expected from Pfizer given their response to thousands of reported deaths and injuries, including miscarriages, in their COVID vaccine trials. This is the phase 3 data suggests possible risk of preterm birth from Pfizer. According to the BMJ, a year after GSK's clinical trial was halted, experts called for an investigation of Pfizer's phase 3 clinical trial after a numerical imbalance in preterm births emerged from its data. Even then, Pfizer did not disclose in patient consent forms for its phase 3 trial that it was studying preterm birth as a, quote, adverse event of special interest, quote. What? Special interest to who? Who is this of special interest to? The pharmaceutical companies? The people that run the pharmaceutical companies? The fucking U.S. government, who's clearly in bed with the pharmaceutical companies? Who? Who is this adverse effect? Bill Gates? Need I say? Dare I say? Billy boy? According to documents from the U.S., Canada, and Netherlands, Finland, and New Zealand obtained by the BMJ, some consent forms obtained by the BMJ contain inconsistent statements warning of possible, quote, life-threatening effects of the vaccine on the baby, while also stating that only the expectant mother is at risk of experiencing adverse effects. Dude, I'm sorry, but if you're a fucking expecting mother and you're like, get the vaccine trial, we're getting in there, I feel sorry for your fucking child. I do, man. My heart goes out to him. I want to call you a fucking idiot. I want to say you deserve it, but that's not the case. That's fucking... I'm trying to be compassionate. But god damn. Oh, damn. The consent forms state the risks associated with the study vaccine may be experienced by you, but not your baby, since your baby will not receive the study vaccine or placebo directly. I don't know if you know this, but like literally everything you put in your body fucking goes to the kid too. If you get drunk, if you drink some brewskis, you pop back some Trulies, you're having a claw sometime with some White Claws, the little margarita smoothie ones. Guess what? That could fuck your baby up. You do that too many times, baby, you get fetal alcohol syndrome. You shoot dope. Guess what? You're fucking dope sick. Your baby's dope sick. They literally, if you're on methadone and you get pregnant, and then say you get arrested for some fucking geek dopehead shit, they have, if you're a pregnant woman, they have methadone for you in the jail. They'll give it to you because they don't want you detoxing, because the detoxing can kill the fucking baby. And you're telling me you're getting some fucking pig cells, fetal aborted fucking baby cells, fucking that aren't from your baby. You get fucking aborted monkey cells. You get fucking shark DNA. You get fucking formaldehyde and fucking aluminum runoffs and fucking all sorts of shit that cross the blood-brain barrier. And you're telling me it doesn't impact the baby? I mean, are you stupid? Like, are you a literal, like, are you slow? Is your brain slow? Are you smooth-brained? Are you koala-brained? Clearly, you're not dolphin-brained. You might not even be human-brained, just out here walking around. Knowing what we know now, the statement in question is irresponsible and, given the benefit of hindsight, is actually factually incorrect. Actually, factually. Ms. Burnaby told the BMJ, the statement gives the false sense of security that the fetus or neonate will not be exposed to any risk or inconvenience. Considering the gravity of the risk that this is irresponsible statement veils, this misleading statement should be a ground for questioning the validity of the consent process. Agreed. The Dutch National Research Ethics Body also agreed the statement could potentially cause confusion for clinical trial participants after being informed of the issue by the BMJ. The Dutch authorities subsequently contacted Pfizer about the confusing language and recommended it be adapted. But it has since emerged that no new participants would be enrolled in the study, rendering the matter moot. The fact that Pfizer was investigating whether the drug was causing preterm birth, but then chose not to disclose it, appears to indicate intentionality. This intentionality would provide very serious civil causes of action, and may even mean this action could rise to the level of criminal activity. Yeah, I fucking say so. Mr. Renz told the Epoch Times, at this point, the American public really needs to start asking ourselves how many laws Pfizer can violate before their lobbyists can no longer afford to pay off our politicians to look the other way, he added. Yeah. How fucking long? How fucking long? How long can they pay off the fucking people on the news? You know, Pfizer shares board seats with fucking multiple media outlets, which are all owned by the same people. You think you're getting a choice in news media, but they're just telling you what they want to tell you. They'll suck you in either way. They don't care. Left wing, right wing, same bird. Not everyone agreed that Pfizer had an obligation to inform pregnant women in their clinical trial and potential risks. Yeah, the fucking CEO of Pfizer. Beat Kampmann, director of the Center for Global Health at Charité University Hospital Berlin and a lead author of Pfizer's Phase 3 trial publication, who oversaw a clinical trial site in Gambia, told the BMJ that GSK's results weren't relevant to her trial participants, as most participants were already in follow-up. Ms. Kampmann said the GSK vaccine was not the same as Pfizer's, and the Trials Data and Safety Monitoring Board, which reviews and evaluates study data to protect participants' safety and monitor the study progress, did not raise any concerns. She said GSK's results were location-specific and involved a temporary finding that is still poorly understood. Ms. Kampmann told the BMJ that questions on informed consent and potential side effects in the trials amounted to getting hung up on issues which are not borne out by the analysis and are distorting the benefits this vaccine can bring. fucking stroking off Pfizer. Just fucking drinking the Pfizer Kool-Aid. FDA signs off on Pfizer's RSV vaccine despite the safety risk. You can't make this fucking shit up. The FDA Vaccines and Related Biological Products Advisory Committee, VRBPAC, in May discussed Pfizer's clinical trial data. In an analysis published by the FDA, the analysis showed no increase in preterm births in high-income countries and a numerical increase in upper-middle-income countries driven by South Africa. The FDA's VRBPAC committee cleared the shot through 4 of the 14 committee members, including Dr. Paul Offit, said Pfizer's data was inadequate to support its safety. Dr. Offit, a pediatrician and recognized expert in virology and immunology, was concerned by GSK's results because its vaccine was, quote, almost identical to Pfizer's. Dr. Offit said GSK presented its data during a 2-day meeting on RSV in Lisbon, and what they found out was that, like Pfizer, there was a temporal association in low and middle-income countries, meaning there was a sort of several-month period where you had that increase in statistical association with premature births, but not at other times. He also questioned why there was clearly an increased risk of premature birth of vaccinated participants and a decrease in the placebo group. If GSK has truly abandoned a program on a similar or almost identical vaccine, that is going to hang over this program, Dr. Offit said. Dr. Offit further pointed out that although it was death during the GSK clinical trial that initially got everyone's attention, it was severe premature births that led to those deaths. Dr. Hannah El-Sashi, VRBPAC chairwoman, said the signal showing an increased risk of preterm births associated with Pfizer's RSV vaccine was significant in phases 2 and 3 of its clinical trial and in a very similar product that was given, on another study. Story continues below. Okay. So having said that, is it a reason enough to pause? Probably so, Dr. Selly said. I mean, increasing the risk of having pregnant women have 20% increased risk of premature delivery is not trivial. No, I'd fucking say that it's not. 1 in 5? 1 in 5 is not trivial. I mean, we're talking about 17 deaths a year out of 4 million babies from RSV versus 1 in 5. I'm no mathematician, but to me, make it make sense. When the FDA authorized the vaccine, it determined available data was insufficient to establish or exclude a causal relationship between preterm birth and Pfizer's RSV vaccine, but limited its use to women who are 32 to 36 weeks pregnant to mitigate the potential risk. The FDA is also requiring Pfizer to perform post-marketing studies to assess the signal of serious risk of preterm birth. FDA in 22 also required Pfizer to conduct several post-marketing safety studies assessing potential long-term impacts of myocarditis, a type of heart inflammation associated with Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine, as a part of its approval process. The data was required to be given to the FDA in December of 22, but the FDA quietly granted Pfizer an extension when it missed its deadline. Yeah, they were trying to keep that data a fucking secret for 75 years. I like that they threw that in there at the end. Makes me feel good, a little warm and fuzzy inside. Epoch Times, whatever they're doing, we like it. You know what I mean? It's like just real crazy to me to see all this shit happening. Medications are fucking everything up. I've really been diving in, and as I talked about earlier with the Patreon, right? It's going to be about holding people accountable, helping people on their own personal mission of developing their mind, body, and soul, and whatever role I can play in helping with that. But I see so many people fucking with this Ozempic shit, this semaglutide, which, I've talked about in previous episodes. We've talked about how you lose like 20-something% of the weight you lose is muscle, right? It could damage bone density. There's like fucking shit. Well, now, before we get into it, well, I guess we'll get into it first. This is an article from CNN, our favorite rival to BNN, the Bongtimore News Network. I don't know what CNN stands for, Cucks News Network. An article from CNN says poison centers see nearly a 1,500% increase in calls related to injected weight loss drugs as people accidentally overdose. So if you don't know, Ozempic is like semaglutide. It's like an injectable weight loss thing. And essentially, from what I understand, the mechanism is that it basically tricks the part of your brain that tells you you're hungry. This could be a problem when you try to stop taking it, because then you're back to having that thing, and it doesn't know how to regulate itself because it's gone from literally never being hungry to fucking being like, whoa. And, it's interesting. But now, also, I don't know how many injected weight loss drugs were around prior to this, so this crazy percentage of increases could be also because there just weren't any before. Because I've never seen a weight loss injectable drug, but I'm not an expert, so I could be dead ass wrong. Who knows? We'll find out. Poison control centers across the U.S. say they are seeing a steep increase in calls related to semaglutide, an injected medication used for diabetes and weight loss, with some people reporting symptoms relating to accidental overdoses. What is the link between diabetes and weight loss? Some people even needed to be hospitalized for severe nausea, vomiting, and stomach pain, but their cases seem to have resolved after they were given intravenous fluids and medications to control nausea. From January through November, the American Poison Centers reported nearly 3,000 calls involving semaglutide, an increase of more than 15-fold since 2019. In 94% of calls, the medication was the only substance reported. In most of the calls, people reporting dosing errors, say Dr. Kate Brown, clinical managing director of the association. Oftentimes, it's a person who maybe accidentally took a double dose or took the wrong dose. Semaglutide was approved by the U.S. FDA in 2017 and is sold as Ozempic when used for diabetes and Wegovy when used for weight loss. Gotcha. Even when used as directed by a doctor, people can have stomach and bowel side effects, including nausea, vomiting, and constipation, especially when they start the drugs. After celebrities began openly embracing Ozempic on social media in 22 as a way to lose weight, I wonder how many of them are like getting kickbacks on that. Just curious, and thinking about it. If it got popular by a bunch of influencers and celebrities, I'd have to believe that there's a reason for that. I know I've heard Elon Musk takes it. For you guys who like old Elon, I'm not sold on that guy. I've made that apparent. See, it went into shortage in the FDA's database in March of 22, which opened the door for certain qualified pharmacies to make compounded versions. The fuck? There's another article apparently in a hyperlink that says they took blockbuster drugs for weight loss and diabetes. Now their stomachs are paralyzed. Yeah. The compounded versions of semaglutide are often different from the patented drug. Many contain semaglutide salts called semaglutide sodium and semaglutide acetate. The FDA says the salt forms of the drug have not been tested and approved to be safe and effective the way the patented form of the medication has, and thus they don't qualify for the compounding exemption in the law for drugs in shortage. In other cases, so is it illegal? And they're just doing it anyway? In other cases, the compounded versions are sold in unapproved dosages. What the fuck? How does this shit... How, Sway? But these compounded versions are popular because they may cost less out of pocket, especially if the treatment isn't covered by insurance. The FDA warned the public in June against taking compounded versions of the medication if the prescription forms were available. The agency said it received... But if they're not available, go ahead. Fuck it. The agency said it received adverse event reports of people using compounded versions of the drug. Poison control centers say the reported symptoms don't allow them to know whether the calls stem from the patented drugs or the compounded versions, Brown said, but some state poison center directors say they believe that the compounded versions are behind many of the calls. Dr. Joseph Lamson, director of New Mexico Poison and Drug Information Center, detailed what happened to 3 people who called the Utah Poison Control Hotline. Saw calls related to semaglutide nearly quadruple between 21 and 22. He wrote about the case in the Journal of American Pharmacy Association. 2 of the callers had accidentally taken 10 times the standard dose of the drug. There ain't no fucking magic pill, man. It takes hard work. You want to lose weight? Get your fat ass up off the couch. Get your fat ass up out of Bojangles. And get your fucking fat ass out on the trail. Eat some fucking steak. And fucking eat some fruit. And fucking get your ass fucking on the treadmill. start putting out, baby. Come with some patients draw their own doses into syringes, and it's easy to get confused. This is where we see a lot of errors. They end up drawing too much. One of the calls Lancet's team receives from a 37-year-old woman who accidentally gave herself 1 milliliter instead of 0.1 milliliters, 10 times the recommended amount as her first dose for weight loss. 50-year-old man accidentally gave himself 50 units instead of 5 units as his first dose for weight loss. He vomited for 2 days and had nausea for a week. I think that whenever we have to rely on patient to discern what the right dose is to draw up and then administer, you're putting more chances in there for there to be errors. Third caller, 33-year-old woman, reported getting semaglutide at a spa, but didn't know the dose. What? Isn't this a medication you need a prescription for? How does this work? She went to the ER for persistent vomiting and abdominal pain, got an anti-nausea medication, IV fluids, discharged later that day. Julie Weber, director of the Missouri Poison Center, said they got 28 calls related to semaglutide in 21. This year through October, it had 94. Calls about semaglutide stand out in the data another way, too. Another most called to poison centers concern young kids who've accidentally ingested something. These calls are from adults ranges 40 to 70, with the largest group in the 60 to 69 range. Weber says, so some old fatties are having a hard time with their weight loss drugs. Man, should be taking some testosterone and slanging some fucking iron. And fucking talk to the rip dude in the corner about some fucking trend. That's what they should be doing. Fuck the semaglutide. Get your fat, get on some testosterone, get some fucking tea, get some fucking trend, and start slanging some weight. Be on your RFK shit in no time. Weber says the calls they see in their system aren't totally related to injections of compounded forms of the drug. Said many of their calls are related to the click pen that comes with the prescription drug. One case, caller said they're having trouble with the pen and accidentally dialed it all the way up, giving themselves an entire month's dose at once. Woo! They misunderstood the pen, didn't know how to use it, dialed it up too much, took the whole pen instead of the dose that was supposed to happen. In many other cases reported this year, people were hospitalized. One of those patients accidentally took 20 times the recommended amount. Dude, the manufacturer of Ozempic and Wegovy said patient safety is of its top priority. They're taking multiple steps to ensure responsible use of the semaglutide, which are detailed on semaglutide.com. No specific antidote for an overdose. The drug has a half-life of about a week, meaning it takes 1 week to clear half of it from your body. Emergency departments and hospitals can only help support patients with IV fluids and anti-nausea drugs as the drug works its way out of their bodies. In addition to nausea and vomiting, the Missouri Poison Centers they watch for signs of low blood sugar or hypoglycemia, which can be dangerous. Let's see. Crazy, dude. My God. I just don't understand, man. And then, so with this happening, right, I just saw this shit too. It's like you can't make this shit up. I saw a fucking, post, and it said, for obese kids, the USPSTF recommends diet and exercise. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends surgery and Ozempic. So if you got a little chunky fat kid, because you guys go to McDonald's fucking 4 times a week, and you send them to school, and they just eat nothing but garbage, and they sit around and watch fucking TV or play video games all day, and just eat, play video games and shit, and fucking don't go outside, and you just put them on a tablet or whatever you do. The American Academy of Pediatrics, one of the most trusted establishments in children's medicine, said, fuck diet and exercise. Give them some surgery, liposuck those fat fucks, and give them some Ozempic for maintenance. I mean, how crazy. Whoever wrote this said, good morning, this Monday I take a day off for the study of the week. Vinay Prasad contrasts the different recommendations on the treatment of childhood obesity. The USPSTF, United States Preventative Services Task Force, is an independent volunteer panel of experts in disease prevention and evidence-based medicine. They are close to neutral judges of medical evidence as it gets. Damn. So, just know and think, are you somebody that just wants a magic pill, an easy way out? Or are you somebody that's willing to do the work? Because the easy way out is not so easy. What if you fuck up you paralyze your fucking stomach and you can't eat? What are you going to do? What are you going to do if you get off the shit and your fucking regulatory system is fucked up and now you binge eat everything? I mean, me or a million other people can fucking help you learn what you need to learn, but you got to implement the strategies, man. You got to utilize the tactics. It's up to fucking you, man. But in the meantime, don't give your fat fucking kids some Ozempic or fucking any of this semaglutide shit. And if you're thinking about taking it, don't. Get your ass into jiu-jitsu. Get your ass fucking out on a trail. Go for a little jog around the block. Take a weight vest walk. Do something, man. Anything. Change your fucking diet, dude. Stop ordering fucking DoorDash 12 times a week and fucking cook something. I mean, God, for Christ's sake, do a little bit of meal prep. I mean, I'm not crazy with it, but I will prep protein so I can easily just form a meal around that. And I already got my protein cooked, whether that's ground beef or like turkey or, fucking grilled chicken, whatever. Fucking baked chicken. Just get the fuck after it. And that shit gets me fired up, man. It's like, you're kids, dude. These are your kids. Oh, shit. I just lost my fucking last article that I was going to give. God damn it. But I think it's important just to throw it in there. The Colorado Supreme Court today declared that Trump is ineligible to run again. So this is an article from Politico. You could just fucking type in Colorado fucking Trump ineligible, and the shit pops up. This might have even been the first one. Colorado Supreme Court says Trump is ineligible to run again. It ruled that Trump engaged in an insurrection by stoking the Capitol riot on January 6th of 2021. Bullshit. Bullshit. You can also go back to fucking an episode. I'm not sure what number it is, but it says 1/6/21, darkest day in American history, some shit like that. And I talk about it. I grew up right outside DC. I was in Baltimore at the time. I had a fucking homegirl coming to town, and she came up all the way from Oklahoma to go see it. My ex fucking girlfriend, Elizabeth from Knoxville. If you're not familiar with her, go look her up because they memed the fuck out of her, and it is hilarious. Sorry, Elizabeth from Knoxville, if you're listening, but that was my ex-girlfriend from high school. Her dad is also a fucking Mason. It's like a naval intelligence master chief. He ran the ROTC at the school. God knows what he was into, but and now we've been seeing tons of footage come out. Tons of footage. It looked like the FBI really was spearheading the insurrection of getting people to run through. Look at fucking Ray Epps. Look at the video of them being like, I think it was Ted Cruz interviewing that fucking guy in the Senate hearing. Like, did you guys have knowledge? Were there fucking people there working? And the guy was like, I cannot confirm or deny. Like, this shit is insane. Colorado Supreme Court's decision won't take effect until at least January 4th of 24 to give the U.S. Supreme Court time to weigh in. U.S. Supreme Court is already debating whether to take up another momentous Trump-related question on an urgent time frame, whether he is immune from the criminal charges brought by special counsel Jack Smith related to his bid to subvert the 2020 election, which it's also been coming out that there has been fraud in all of these counties, that this motherfucker said there has been fraud. In Arizona where this shit was happening, the fucking lady that's like the governor now just fucking cheated on her election. And like she was like, nope, no recount. I won. Sorry. Fucking Georgia's been having mad ballot stuffing on all these fucking local elections. Like it is all just fucking tumbling down, dude. And they are lying to your faces. My God. even before votes were cast, and stoked disinformation about the outcome of the election, even though his top advisors and government officials warned him there was no evidence of significant voter fraud. There's voter fraud in every fucking election. Look at fucking 2004 with the Chads, okay? The hanging Chads. Trump's rhetoric ginned up far-right extremists, the court concluded, many of whom came to Washington prepared for violence. They were prepared for violence? Really? None of that. They came to perform an insurrection, prepared for violence with no weapons. The most armed portion of the American people showed up to the Capitol for fucking an insurrection with no weapons. Fucking 1 million people literally came to fucking DC with no weapons. The most armed, heavily armed part of the population. No weapons. Make it make sense. Please. You know, because if we're looking at overthrow of the government, that would be violent. At least I've been conditioned to think so. President Trump did not merely incite the insurrection, even when the siege on the Capitol was fully, I can't even say that statement with a straight face, fully underway, he continued to support it, the majority wrote. These actions constituted overt, voluntary, and direct participation in the insurrection. Colorado case is one of dozens around the country that are challenging Trump's eligibility to run for president by arguing that he is disqualified by Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. Other courts have rejected the challenges on various grounds, but the Colorado court ruling all but guarantees the U.S. Supreme Court will have to weigh in. They may need to do so quickly. Colorado court noted the election officials in the state must certify the primary ballot by January 5th of 24, 60 days ahead of the state's planned Super Tuesday primary on March 5th. Practically, election officials need time to print and mail ballots to voters ahead of the primary. Federal law requires mail ballots to be sent to military and overseas ballots at least 45 days before an election, creating a particularly compressed timeline for the U.S. Supreme Court to step in. The 133-page opinion, which was unsigned and issued by the 4 justices in the majority, drew 3 dissents. Chief Justice John Boatwright argued removing Trump from the ballot would require an insurrection-related conviction. Trump was impeached by the House for his role in January 6 attacks, but he was acquitted by the Senate. And while he's facing a slew of federal and state criminal charges stemming from his efforts to subvert the election, he has never been criminally charged with committing or inciting an insurrection. Factual. Justice Carlos Seymour echoed Boatwright's concerns, but went further, contending the court was depriving Trump of due process. Agreed. Even if we are convinced that a candidate committed horrible acts in the past, dare I say, engaged in an insurrection, there must be procedural due process before we could declare an individual disqualified from holding public office, he wrote. Justice Maria Birkenhofer also dissented, arguing the Colorado courts don't have the authority to consider the question presented by those challenging Trump. Yeah. So, you know, things to think about. I hate to be fucking black-pilled and be like the election means nothing. Maybe it does. But I really don't believe that we have any power in that. But, you know, there is a possibility we do. You know, their system could rely on just fucking with the numbers and how many votes go to this person or that or counted towards this or that. Right? But they need people to fucking, you know, they don't want too many people. They want people to think these elections are fucked up so that they don't vote, so that it's easier for them to fucking steal the shit. You know, who knows? Maybe you should go vote. I don't know. I probably will not waste the time. I will, however, be participating in local school board and local election shit and learning about these people and figuring out what we can do to start the process at the local level and getting some people whose interest is America moving. You know, there's a lot of shit battling for our minds. You know, I'd recommend just being aware of it, being mindful, looking into things, thinking about things, looking at them from multiple perspectives. You know, trying to steel man a case, trying to look for holes in your case, right? Thinking about why you believe what you believe, being willing to challenge those beliefs. You know, because often those beliefs limit our growth as a human. If you're looking to grow for a human this year, give yourself a gift. Sign up for my fucking Patreon. Give yourself a gift. Go to firstform.com/Elliot Pick up some fucking joint mobility for your old ass knees. Pick up some fucking level 1 protein. Now available in peppermint bark level 1 bars. One of the best fucking protein bars on the planet. So smooth. Shit's easy to bite into. Not too chewy. A1. You know. Appreciate you taking the time to listen. Bongtimore out.